Okay, thank you everyone for joining. I appreciate it. Most of you probably already know I'm filling in for Mayor Cutto tonight. He had a death in the family, but he's sorry that he could not be here. We are going to follow the same format tonight as we did with last month. Here in just a minute, I'll turn it over to Miss Annette Stafford, and she can conduct the Education Committee meeting, and then we will roll into the next meeting and conduct those back to back. We are asking that everyone please mute your microphones at this time. That just helps us with background noise. And then when it's time for you to participate in your particular meeting, if you will unmute that, that would help us out just a little bit. Also, as a reminder, if you'd like to make a motion or a second on any of the business taking place tonight, you can do so using the chat feature, and you should be able to see that on your screen. This will help Mr. Jennings as he records the minutes. If you do choose to voice a motion, I would ask that the chairman of the particular board please be sure to repeat whoever made that motion and second so that we can make sure we've got clarification in our minutes. And Ms. Stafford, at this time, we do have a quorum for the Education Committee meeting. We don't have Mr. Gentry with us right now. I believe he did have another meeting, but when I stand from Mr. Jennings, I can go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Thanks. I hope everybody had an opportunity to go over your minutes. I need a motion and a second to approve the May education meeting minutes.
I'll make it.
Oh. Go, Chad.
Motion Bernard.
Second.
Second, Breeze.
Breeze and Bernard. Motion by Bernard, second by Breeze. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. I guess now at this time, I just need to turn the meeting over to Dr. Wright and Mr. Hall.
Okay. Thank you, Annette. If everyone's okay with everyone, I'm going to defer this as far as to Mickey to walk us through not only the budget amendments, but also as far as a big point that we want to share with you tonight. So I'm going to let Mickey take it from here.
Thank you.
The first item we had on the agenda was Budget Amendment 2020-02. It is a general purpose school fund budget amendment, and it is covering year-end line item transfers for mechanics, other salaries, principals, and other salaries, and then bus drivers. And then we're moving money in the utility section of our budget, and we need an additional $75,000 in maintenance to get through May and June due to a lot of the things we're working on right now at our schools due to storm damage and things like that. So we're not asking for any money. It's moving money within our budget in the general purpose school fund.
Do I have a motion or?
Motion to approve, Robinson.
Second, Marlowe.
Marlowe, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same like sign. Thank you.
The next item we have is Budget Amendment 2020-03. It is a central cafeteria fund, and this is moving money in the cafeteria fund, not any other fund, but it's the cafeteria fund to move money for food service equipment for Green Hill cafeteria. And then in the original budget in the manager's line item, there was an error in our formula for salaries. It's not any new positions or anything, but we need to cover that for the cafeteria managers on line item 105 in that particular item, and it's coming out of the cafeteria fund reserve.
Okay, with that 2003, I need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
Marlowe.
Second, Robinson.
Robinson, all those in questions? All those in that favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same like sign. Thank you. Next item.
Budget Amendment 2020-04. This amendment is really putting the original budget for the capital projects fund in the budget. It was passed by the Education Committee and the Budget Committee, but it didn't make it to the final budget resolution because it was new during 1920. And so I need to show it as an amendment since it didn't make the original budget resolution in August. And then Aaron and I have talked, and it'll be in the 2021 budget resolution like it should be. So this is just approving what the committees have already approved as a budget amendment.
Okay. Are there any? All those in favor?
No, no.
Hey, I'm sorry, I just joined. I had trouble joining. Could you go over that one more time, please?
Yeah, we're on budget amendment 2020-04.
2020-04, okay. hang
Yes, sir.
on. And is that the 118,200,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And what that is, Mr. Gentry, is when we did our original budgets to you all, you approved this in education and budget, but it did not make it in the final resolution for the August meeting. And so this needs to be shown as an amendment at this time. And then in 2021, it will be showing up in the actual budget resolution on final adoption by the county commission.
will it then be included in the budget book as well?
Wait,
It
hold
will,
on.
yes, for next year.
Did I get a motion and a second so we can question or conversation?
Motion to approve.
Marlo, second.
Second. Bernard.
Bernard, okay, now, Mr. Gentry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I did notice last year we passed it, but it did not get into the major budget resolution. You're right.
That's correct.
Okay, I understand. Now,
Okay.
was there any problem with spending this money before it got into our budget?
No, because you authorized it in a bond resolution, 2 bond resolutions, Lakeville Middle and Green Hill High School.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by Marlo, second by Bernard. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same like sign. Motion carries.
Budget amendment 2020-05. This is to recognize our insurance proceeds from what we want to do at West Wilson, Stoner Creek, and the bus shop in that area and the athletic fields between the 2 schools. And I want to be very clear, this is an estimate at this time. We're still working with the insurance company to try to settle that claim. So, but I don't think it will exceed this amount. It could, but I don't think so. But I'm doing a budget amendment, so when the insurance company turns us loose to go to work, I've got the money appropriated by the county commission.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second?
Motion to
Motion to
approve,
approve.
Robinson.
Robinson and who? I'm sorry.
Second, Breeze.
Breeze. Okay, question.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Now, is the 70 million to build the structures?
Yes,
No. What is the
It's an
15
estimate.
million? 15
That's-
million is for what?
content.
Okay, so that's inside. Now, is that to build both schools?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
And
Thank
keep
you.
in mind, please, he said that was an estimate.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, okay. So
And
we
do
have
you
a
have an
motion by,
estimate? Do you have another estimate about when it will be finalized?
I wish I could tell you that. We're going through the process. There's a checklist that the insurance company goes through, and we're going through that checklist with them one by one. As soon as we get a clearance on either building or both buildings, we will let you all know.
Okay, now will you build the buildings similar to what they are now prior to?
No, because they're not code compliant. We had to build them back to the 2018 International Building Codes.
Okay, now will all the structure be removed on both?
That's what we're trying to determine with the insurance company.
Okay, I have just one more question. We will not have to pay for the removal, is that correct?
It's part of the construction cost.
Okay, so that's included in the 70 million?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you.
well, we had total replacement anyway, didn't we, Mr. Hall? So that should take care
Yes,
of all
ma'am.
that. Okay, that's what I thought. Are there any further questions? We got a motion by Robinson, second by Breeze. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same like sign. Passed unanimously. The next item is approval for the energy performance contract.
Yeah, what you're approving, what we're asking you all to do is approve the issuance of a bond. And we've been working with Ashley McAnulty and Jeff Odom with Bassberry and Sims. You all, what this is doing is you would actually be approving a bond, and this energy contract is generating savings to pay the bonds back over 15 years. Plus, in 5 years, our Build America bonds roll off, and we're proposing to take that payment, roll it into this to pay it off in years 6 through 15. And what that does, all the energy savings from this project plus the Build America Bonds project is paying for this project. So we're not asking you for any money, but you're the only body that can authorize the bonds to be issued, and then we're paying it back from the general purpose school fund.
I'd like to make the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Marlo, second?
Yes.
Okay, now question.
Yeah, now, do we have any estimates on how much less money you're going to receive because of the sales tax decrease? Do you have any estimates on that because of the coronavirus?
I'll get to that when we bring the budget to you, Mr. Gentry. I'm working on that right now, so when we get that that'll be part of the budget process when I bring our budget to you.
Okay, now, we have saved quite a bit, haven't we, on gasoline and things like that?
We have saved from the standpoint of buses on diesel fuel, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other savings that we've realized because of this?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I got a motion by Stafford, second by Marlo. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same like sign.
I'm gonna abstain on it right now until I find out more information. Thank you.
Right. Okay, budget 2020-06.
Budget amendment 2020-06 just recognizes what you just approved as far as the bond resolution. And it allows it, we have to show it as bond proceeds and building construction in our budget document. So that's just approving the bond issue that you just approved.
Okay, I'll make the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same like sign.
I'll abstain on that for right now too. Thank you.
Okay, we got all ayes and one abstention.
Ms. Stafford, this is the note from Mr. Jennings. I just noticed I have a word wrong in the explanation. It says lease and that should be bond. So I'll get that corrected and sent over to Mr. Jennings as soon as this meeting's over.
Great. So you're just gonna amend what you're gonna send him, okay?
Just
great.
that one word, those words, lease to a bond.
Gotcha.
There's capital bond, okay.
Yeah, I saw that. Is there any further business we have with you at this time?
That concludes.
Would you want us, Ms. Stafford, would you want us to elaborate any on our future budget meetings?
That'd be great. Yes, sir.
Just for everybody that's on the call, our board will have a work session starting at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. It'll be virtual that you can stream our board work session on. It's from 10 to 3 on Saturday. If the board wants another work session, we have another one scheduled Tuesday night. And then we've asked for a special call meeting the next Thursday night, along with another one on Saturday if needed at 10 o'clock to approve the budgets. And if they do that, then we're requesting that the Education Committee, Budget Committees, if possible, meet on the 21st in a joint format so we can present our budgets to you all. So that keeps you all sort of on track to meet your June deadline. So if that meets the committee's approval, just let us know a time that you would want to meet on the 21st to do that. But that's how we're trying to work with the board to get our budgets to you all for that 21st meeting, if you all would meet on that night.
Okay, also, Mr. Hall, could you send out that in a form of an email as well, so that way everybody will have a copy or something that they can go back over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And a reminder that it will be live streamed.
Okay, right. Okay, gotcha. Is there any further comments or questions? Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we all need to stay on here because we're getting ready for the next meeting. Is that not right? Guess waiting to join the Auburn View lobby. I guess we just wait for the next one. That should be next. Mute me.
I'm sorry, everyone. I was muted and I was just talking away. Thank you, Miss Annette. Just to remind everybody, I know we had a couple of people join during the Education Committee meeting. If you could keep your microphones on mute unless you're participating in a meeting. It just helps us with the background noise and being able to take the minutes. It looks like we're ready to move on to the minutes committee. And Miss Joy, all the members are present and accounted for, so there's no need to do a roll call, and I'll turn the floor over to you.
All right, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate this. Okay, let's call the meeting of the minutes committee to order, and we will see about the approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections? Did anybody
Yes, I
find
do.
any?
On page 4, the last sentence is a typographical error. It says their revenues. I think it should be these revenues will help us offset shortages.
It's on page 4. Okay. All
Did
right,
you get
is
that,
there-
Commissioner Bishop?
Yes, I did. Now, is there a motion that we change that? May I
Make
hear
a motion.
Second.
Okay, was that Tommy that seconded the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, all in favor of that, or please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, go on over to the next page. I found a couple on that page as well but they're just so minor. It's just I think probably the computer did it, but I don't know that for a fact. Did you all pick up on the first paragraph on 5 down there on line 5? There was spelled THEIR rather than THERE, and that I think that's probably the computer that did that. But anyway, we probably need to change it.
Make a motion to change that to TH.
Second that for you.
Okay, I will second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Miss Joy,
then
I'm
there's-
sorry. Can you tell us who seconded that motion? We missed it. I'm sorry.
No, I can't tell you. I
Second,
reckon I
Smith.
don't know. Was it Robert?
I believe it was Commissioner Smith.
Robert made the motion, I think.
Mr. Fields made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Smith.
Correct.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
That's
Okay, and then the next one, in the next paragraph, I don't think this makes a great deal of difference, but I noticed that tornado is capitalized rather than just regular. But if we want to do that, that might be another change, and we can leave it or do it either one, whichever y'all want to do. The pleasure of the committee. Sandra does, or the minutes always just do really well, I think, and to be so nitpicky, I just hate to be that way because it's they always are pretty good shape, I think, better than I could do by far.
I agree with
Okay.
you, Bishop. However,
Shall we just sort of skip on? Oh, are there other corrections? Did anybody find anything else? No. Okay.
No, ma'am.
None that I know of, Miss Joy.
If there are no other corrections, I'll make a motion then that the minutes be approved. If somebody will second, please.
I'll second that for you, Miss Joy.
Thank you. Okay. The minutes then, we need to all say aye. All in
Aye.
favor, say aye. Okay. Is there any old business to come before the committee? New business? Okay.
make
we
a
need one
motion.
more
to
motion.
adjourn.
I'll second your
Okay,
motion.
Mr. Fields made the motion, and I believe Justin Smith seconded the motion. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
We're all in favor, I'm sure. So, all right, thank you. That concludes the minutes committee meeting for tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss Joy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Miss Joy. Miss Sarah Patton, I believe we are ready to move forward with the steering committee now. I have all members accounted for except for Mr. Terry Ash and Mr. William Glover and Mr. Kenny Rich, unless they have joined and I have just missed them.
Okay, we'll call the steering meeting to order. We do have a quorum, correct, Sarah? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. You all should have received an email from Sandra or Sarah, one about, the agenda. I hope you've all had a chance to look over it. Does everyone, let's see, who is responsible for the prayer and the pledge this month? I think Chris did it last month. Is that right?
I'm responsible for it.
Joe did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Laura in District 18. And
Okay.
it's all set.
Okay, good deal. All right, and do you know, Sarah, if we have any special recognitions or not?
None to my knowledge.
Okay. There'll be a couple of elections and appointments, but everything else is just as you see. Anybody have any additions or corrections? Seeing none, I need a motion
I'll make a motion to approve it, Bernard.
as presented.
Second, Diane.
All in favor?
Ah,
Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion to adjourn. All in favor? Motion passes. Good deal.
Miss Sarah, can you tell me who the second was on the adjournment?
Weathers.
Yes, I was
Thank
going to say Diane.
Diane Weathers.
Mhm.
Diane Weathers was the motion, and who was the second? I'm sorry.
I think it was Chad
Bernard.
and me.
Chad
Bernard.
Bernard, I'm sorry.
We got
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. We got it. Thank you.
Sarah's doing good. It's me asking the questions, okay?
Wake up.
I am awake. Y'all just all talk at the same time, and I know you's all raised better than that.
All right. So is that it?
I think that's it. Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. I appreciate it. Okay, Mr. Marlowe, we are ready to move on to the final meeting, the Budget Committee, and based on my records, we do have a quorum. Everyone is present. I do not have Commissioner Glover present right now, but everyone else is here.
You speaking, you're gonna vote for the motion?
Yes, Ken.
Yeah.
Okay, we did have a meeting on April the 9th. So there is some minutes that you received. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
Motion to approve, Jones.
Is there a second? Okay, where is everybody? I'll second. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Y'all need to know, Mr. Chairman, the mayor has the right to designate someone to sit in his place. And Sarah is sitting with him tonight. So you have 4 members present right now.
Miss Annette, are you still with us? I think we may have lost Miss Annette.
We got 3 members present.
I just text her, so she should be getting back on.
Thank you. That's enough to approve the minutes.
You show me on there also?
I've got.
Commissioner Glover, is that
There's
you?
William now.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you. Okay.
Got him now.
So even without Commissioner Staff, are we okay to move forward?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
She sent me a message and said she'd lost connection, Sarah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what she said. Her iPad died. So I'm going to send her the Teams link again. So if you'll wait just a second, she's going to try to log back in again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Mr. Marlowe, I'm not sure if you heard that or not, but Mr. Jennings said we could hold just a moment.
Okay,
If you want to, Mr. Chairman, I'm not
So
trying to.
if you wanted to.
sure. We'll see if she gets back on.
All right, you have the finance report in your packet. So I want to give you some good news, which you probably haven't heard in a while. So you probably would welcome some good news. We've collected 89.46% of our budgeted revenues, which is about 3% higher through the same period in the prior year. So going into the COVID-19 situation and the severe storms that we had, we were probably running $1.5 million to $2 million ahead of where we were same point last year. So I just want everybody to know that we were running pretty strong going into this. I know that doesn't comfort us completely with all the unknowns out there, but I wanted to be sure and point that out. There's nothing in particular that I can bring to your attention other than that tonight. We're just now starting to get a real read on how things have changed. Mickey will talk about sales tax a little bit later, but it is down. Sales tax is down some for sure. Maybe not as far as, some people might have, originally thought. Hotel motel tax is down, but not, I think it's somewhere between 20 and 40,000 versus the previous month. So we did have a lot of people in our hotels who were here doing repair work to damaged structures and such. So that's really all I have for the time being. It'll be in the future months that we have more information about how exactly the economy is affecting us.
Okay, is there any questions for Aaron concerning the report? Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Glover.
Second, Jones.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, Aaron, I understand we've got 7 WEMA.
We do, and I don't know if Joey Cooper is on or not, if he wants to do them himself or if he wants me to do them.
I didn't see Joey's name listed.
I'm on here.
Okay.
All right, there's Joey.
All right. First one.
Terry Scruggs.
Is now exiting.
The first budget amendment is on an ambulance sale that we had to transfer revenue for a line for $3,610.
Okay, we have a request to transfer funds concerning sale of equipment to
Motion
ambulance
approved.
fund for 3610. Is there a favor to approve?
Motion to approve, Glover.
Second, Jones.
Second, have a motion and a second.
Annette Stafford.
All in
Is
favor,
now
say aye.
joining.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next one.
Okay, number 2 is to transfer funds for reimbursement to be paid to WEMA from AMB reimbursement per the contract we have with them. This will go to line 307, our communication line, for $5,760.
Motion to approve, Glover.
Second, Stafford.
Okay, motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Unanimous. Next one.
All right, budget number 3, Homeland Security Grant to transfer fiscal year 19 funds of Homeland Security into the Homeland Security lines.
Motion to approve, Glover.
Second, Stafford.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions?
Joey, can you explain? I'm not against anything, but can you explain to me what this is? I really don't understand.
This is an annual grant that Homeland Security does for law enforcement, basically for public safety. It covers law enforcement, It covers training and communications in areas like that. It's automatically broke down where law enforcement automatically receives off the top of those funds 25%. So they get the majority of that grant that is put out there. So this is basically what that entails. Law enforcement gets 66,605 of that, and then the other is 41,607 for training, communication, etc.
Okay, and it's been reoccurring?
Yes, sir. It's an annual reoccurrance. The total will be different each year based on the overall needs and funding available. But yes, this is an annual occurrence.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Next resolution.
Okay, next I have to transfer ambulance service application and permit fees over to an appropriate budget line. We're requesting those fees of $1,500 be put over into the ambulance fund.
Motion to approve, Jones.
Second, Stafford.
And we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next one.
Okay, the next one I have is transfer funds that were lost in last year's budget to the appropriate budget line into the drug and medical supply line. This was a total of $3,242.35. Aaron May can talk a little bit further if anybody has questions on that.
Okay, can I have a motion first?
Motion to approve, Glover.
I'll second the motion. Can you explain how it was lost?
Well, basically, we had a purchase order that was closed. We're not carrying purchase orders over from one year to the next anymore. And so basically there were supplies that were on order, but the purchase order that they were on order against got closed, and it wound up being charged against the new budget instead of the prior year budget. So that's basically the explanation for loss.
Okay. That explanation is a little bit better than the word lost.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I agree. It was.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right.
All right, the next one is also an annual pass-through funds for the state of Tennessee 2019 firefighters educational incentive pay. We're just requesting that to go to our salary supplement line 140, totaling the $59,200.
Motion to approve, Glover.
Second, Jones.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next one.
All right, last one should be transfer COVID-19 CARES funds from a grant to an expenditure line, which is line 413, and that totals $73,423.07.
I'll make the motion for question.
Do we have a second?
Second, Glover.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Questions?
Okay, is this money, it have to be grant matched, or is this money that we've got to pay back, or is this just straight cash to us?
This is, yeah, this is straight cash based on 10 CARE monies that were received from last year's totals. And it's basically for coverage during the COVID-19 pandemic to reimburse ambulance services and things like that for what they're having to purchase and things like that. So no, there's no match to it. And Aaron, if you need to add more to it, you can do that.
Oh, I think fundamentally, the question's very sound. I mean, they just want to be sure they don't have to pay anything back and there's no match, and both those things are true. It's an absolute 100% grant. We don't have to pay it back, and we don't have a match on it. It's just money that has been given to us by the federal government, COVID-19.
Is now exiting.
Oh, what? I'm sorry.
You're still on, Annette, you're still on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that is all of the amendments for WEMA. The next one is for animal control.
Mr. Chairman, we need to vote on that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Motion.
We had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, now animal control.
Yeah, I think I'm handling animal control tonight, and basically they had the opportunity, which was approved by their committee, to purchase a truck that had dog boxes in it. They had the money in their reserve account. As you guys know, we set up a reserve account for the fees that they collect, over and above their expenditures for the year. So they're just requesting $5,100 out of their reserve account to go back into other supplies and materials where they bought the truck.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second, Jones.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, well, any more questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, county clerk.
Yeah, the county clerk, as you guys might imagine, not being open to the public, they're having to mail a lot more than they have been. So what you're seeing them do here is transfer money out of other line items into postage to cover all the additional mailing that they're doing.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Glover seconded that. Any more comments or questions?
Could I have a question from the audience here? When is the county clerk going to open again? I've had a lot of inquiries in my area about getting licenses and things like that. Do we know that?
Yeah, I will say that to the best of my knowledge and belief, Mr. Gentry, the mayor himself, is in charge of county buildings.
Annette Stafford is now joining.
When he lifts the order, which will be in line with what the governor recommends, when he lifts the order to reopen public buildings, then I'm sure at that point in time, the county clerk will go back to get people being able to come into the office.
Okay, they can't go in now by appointment though, correct?
By appointment, there is a way for people to get in the building by calling certain numbers, et cetera. But the whole point of the being closed to the public is to keep the public safe from congregating. I'm sure you guys have been to the courthouse and seen the lines at the end of the month and the first of the month with people coming to do taxes. That's not a good practice right now.
Also another issue was the inspection for the automobiles. I think they're all closed as well.
Yeah, and that's been suspended. I think you basically were given grace. If your tags expired and were due to be renewed in this time, you don't have to worry about doing emissions tests for this year.
Oh, okay.
I think that was forgiven.
Okay, is there any more questions or concerns about this budget amendment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. HR. You got that one, Aaron?
I guess I do. Basically, she's taken money out of in-service training and putting it into other charges to purchase laptops. She's been borrowing a laptop from IT, so.
Sorry, I
I-
was muted, Aaron.
There's Vaughn.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted, but yes, we want to transfer money from our line 524 into either 599 or line 719. Yes, currently we are borrowing laptops from IT, and we want to use them for future presentations, training, and online, training.
Motion to approve.
Motion. Second, Stafford.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. How many laptops are we talking about?
2.
And are they off some sort of bid?
No.
Okay.
No. Shouldn't they be off a state contract?
Aaron, you know?
Well, again, I regret to say that Vaughn and I haven't spoken directly about it, but basically, I'm sure that she would be buying what would be recommended by IT. Who, if we're exceeded a bid threshold, et cetera, I'm sure that we're buying off state contract or off a bid that we've done in the last 12 months. Yeah, we shouldn't be if we go over 15,000 on anything, whether it's laptops or whatever else, it ought to be going out for bid. So I will double check on that issue to see exactly how that's getting done.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, any other questions or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Okay, general fund.
All right, nobody panic. Let me explain this. Basically, this is the money related to the storm damage. This is the monitoring and removal company that has been out picking up debris. We will get a sizable portion of this money back from FEMA. Probably next month, we've already talked to the comptroller's office. Probably next month, we will be bringing you a capital outlay note, which the comptroller's office has given us verbal approval for. So what you will see instead of fund balance, you will see an other financing source. Or we're trying to figure out 900,000 is an estimate. It's probably a high estimate. It's probably going to be somewhere between 500,000 and 900,000 based on what I've seen so far. So we will be putting this money back immediately, like next month, in the form of
In the form of a what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, Miss Annette, I couldn't hear you either.
I didn't in
Mic
the form of a
frozen.
what? You'll bring it back in the
Capital outlay note.
Okay.
Bring it back first in the form of a capital outlay note, and then we'll pay the capital outlay note off with the money that comes back from FEMA.
Okay. I have one more question if it's
Okay.
okay.
Sure.
So we'll pay it back for what we get from FEMA. If FEMA sends us too much money, are we to send it back or do we keep it? What happens if that occurs?
I can't imagine FEMA sending us too much money. Basically, the way it works, FEMA will reimburse us 75%. FEMA will reimburse us 12.5%, which leaves us as a local share only for 12.5%. Now we can use some non-cash things like volunteer labor, et cetera, to count for some of our match, which we do have record of.
Okay, so we do have.
This is a very complicated process. Yeah, this is a very complicated process. It has consumed a lot of my time over the last several weeks, and you know, we will get a good chunk of this back. We will not get all of it, but we will get a good chunk of it back.
So basically, we're just gonna second. So basically, we're gonna have buy-in is 12.5%.
That should be right. Now again, FEMA at the end of the day, you could have a little bit more than that because you could have FEMA challenge and disallow. If you were to look up online various storms in different parts of the country, you'll see that many times FEMA comes back in and challenges and disallows certain costs, et cetera. So hopefully that doesn't happen to us. We've been very diligent, very careful to try to keep that from happening. We're in constant contact with FEMA and TEMA both. But 12.5% should be the correct number.
Okay, is there any other questions or concerns?
Aaron, when could we expect to see these funds back?
I was told if I had everything today that I wouldn't see a payment at least for 6 months down the road. In other words, if everything was done and I could submit all the paperwork today, it would be at least 6 months before they would process the payment. I think you're probably talking about 12 to 18 months to seeing everything come back.
Anything else from anyone? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, county buildings.
I don't know if Robert's on or not, but all he's doing is moving money out of his part-time personnel into custodial personnel. And it's just a correction that was, it looks like it was approved, but didn't get into the 1920 budget.
Is there a motion?
So he's not asking. Yeah, he's not asking for benefits money or anything else.
Motion to approve, Glover.
Second, Stafford.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Any additional questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay, landfill.
As usual, when property tax collections go up, we have higher trustees commissions that have to be paid. So Cindy is paying her additional trustees commissions out of the landfill.
Is there a motion?
Motion. Jones.
I'll second the motion. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Unanimous. General debt.
Yeah, this is just some cleanup stuff that needed to be done on that particular budget. There's nothing new here with the except for some additional trustees commission. Again, as we budget based on a certain amount of property tax being collected. If we get more than that, then our trustees commission goes up. Also, we had the issue of the indoor practice facility that we had to make some corrections on. So that's really all this is.
Motion.
Second, Jones.
And we do have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. And it's unanimous. And rural debt.
It's kind of the same thing. We had apparently we shorted our interest when we put together our budget schedule. So basically we're just making a correction to get that interest in there correctly.
Motion to approve, Glover.
Second, Stafford.
Have a motion and a second. Any additional comments or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. It is unanimous, and I assume we're ready for the education.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind me interrupting, there are a couple of things on the agenda that were still with Cooper's regarding donations. You might want to knock them out before you get over into the education part of it. Do you have those on your agenda?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I do have that. I didn't have any documentation. I just have it on the agenda. So there's a surplus donation, a fire engine.
Yes, sir. Joey's still on the line, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, I am. It's a 2000 model, two-door international engine, and we're surplusing that engine and requesting that that engine be donated to Watertown. And one reason why we're recommending that is because in the report that they turn in for us, they run about 73% of their calls in the county. And we have to surplus that engine. So we're wanting, like I said, wanting to donate that to them as a surplus. And then if they ever get rid of it, it has to come back to us.
Motion, Jones.
Okay,
Second, Stafford.
have a motion and a second. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. That is unanimous. And there's something about a Bridgestone donation.
Yes, Bridgestone is donating a command trailer to Wilson County for us at EMA to oversee. This trailer can be utilized by all the departments in Wilson County, big events and things like that. One that was donated to Murfreesboro, I can't remember if it was last year or year before, I think last year. It was utilized during a tornado in Mount Juliet, and it served a great purpose during that time because we currently do not have one. So they're wanting to donate this trailer to us. And the agreement and all that's been sent to Aaron, and he has approved it, and he will be the one signing the agreement. But we're requesting that you approve of them donating the trailer to us.
Motion.
Can we have a motion?
Second,
Motion,
Jones.
Stafford.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additional comments or questions?
Joey, there's no cost involved, I assume, when you say donate.
That is correct. There's no cost.
Joey, will we have to upgrade the trailer in any way?
The trailer will come with, my understanding, it will come fully ready, tires, service, everything when we get it.
Okay.
But from that time forward, yes, we'll have to service it at that time. But yes, it will come to us fully ready.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Now, are we ready for education?
I believe so, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Marlowe, was that question posed to us?
Yes, we're ready for y'all's presentation.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I'm going to ask that Mickey walk us through. We have several budget amendments that might pose some questions.
The items we're about to present to you all has passed education earlier tonight. The first budget amendment is Budget Amendment 2020-02 to the General Purpose School Fund. We usually do this one around in June, but since the budget's going to be in June, we moved this back 1 month. But it's correcting some salary line items at the end of the year, and then moving some money for utilities, and then we're requesting $75,000 be put in maintenance to cover their expenses that we've incurred due to tornado damage and pandemics and things like that over the last few months, and also getting ready for, we've got to move several staff members around with our plan to take care of the kids for Stoner Creek and West Wilson. So we're in the process of doing that as well, and this helps them cover their expenses for that part of the year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, number 3.
Budget Amendment 2020-03 is in the Central Cafeteria Fund. And we're amending this budget out of their reserves, out of the food service reserves, not the general purpose school fund, but the cafeteria fund. And $100,000 of this is for equipment for Green Hill High School. And then in the original budget, there was an error in the manager's line item, in the payroll line item, and we're correcting that before the end of the year. And all this money is coming out of the cafeteria fund reserve.
Motion.
Second. Glover.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Okay. Number
Budget
four.
Amendment 2020-04 is the Education Capital Projects Fund. The Education Committee and Budget Committee actually approved this as an original budget, but it did not get to the final budget resolution in the final budget document. So I have to show that as an amendment now because it was left out of there. Aaron and I have already talked about that, about how we'll correct that going forward in 2021. So this is, again, is just putting it in the front of the county commission so that original budgets can be shown on my budget documents.
Motion to approve. Glover.
Second, Stafford.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? And it's unanimous.
Budget Amendment 2020-05 is also in the Education Capital Projects Fund. And this is an estimate based on what we anticipate on the high side of getting from our insurance company to help us hopefully get Stoner Creek and West Wilson projects moving. And it's insurance recovery money and then putting the money in the line items to do that. And you all have to appropriate that insurance recovery money. So that's all this amendment's doing. And it is an estimate at this time, and we're still working with the insurance company to move forward.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Is there any questions?
Do you have a question? So do we have any amount that we're going to be responsible for? Is the insurance covered 100%? I know we
No, sir.
discussed it earlier, but I didn't know if there's any updates.
No, sir. Our intent is that the insurance will cover everything, or we will work with FEMA, one or the other.
Thank you for getting good insurance.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, motion to approve. Oh, you already got that. I'm sorry.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Next.
The next item we have is a bond resolution for the $6,290,000 for the energy program we want to propose to you all. You're just approving the bond resolution, and what that is the project is doing lighting upgrades, taking the T8s out to LED lighting at several schools, exterior lighting to LED lighting, taking those savings and then also doing the AC upgrade and replacing Wilson Central. We're wanting to pay that off over 15 years, and that money's coming out of our budget, out of the general purpose budget through savings of the energy. And in years 6 through 15, our Build America bonds payments roll off, and we're proposing that roll over here and pay this bond off. So both the energy savings out of this project plus the Build America bond savings pay for this program. So we're not asking the county for any money, just to okay the bond resolution so we can move forward with this project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Got one more. Wendell, I got one more budget amendment.
Okay.
2020-06 is just recognizing it in the form of a budget amendment, what you just proved for the bond resolution. And that's just reflecting bond proceeds plus the building construction project for the program we want to do. And on the right, it says capital lease. I'm going to correct that, and it should say bonds, and I'm going to get that to Mike. And the reason for the mix up on the wording is when we first talked about this, it was going to be a lease, but after talking to Ashley, we can save $500,000 over 15 years. $500,000. Yeah, $500,000 over the life of this by going to bonds compared to leases. So I'm sorry.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Have have a motion and a second. Any additional questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The last thing we had, Mr. Chairman, was just to update you on our schedule for the budget. Our board will meet Saturday from 10 to 3. It'll be a virtual meeting if you want to watch it streaming. We have a second work session set up for next Tuesday night if needed, and then a special call meeting on Thursday night of next week. And if needed, another special call meeting on Saturday, a week from this Saturday. And we hope to have our budgets approved by then so we can forward on to your committee. And we've requested a joint meeting between education and budget on the 21st at whatever time you all tell us. And so we can present our budgets to both of you at the same time to meet your June deadlines.
All right. Okay, Aaron, you
Okay,
still
only
on?
thing I asked again-
I am,
only
sir.
thing I asked again,
Okay.
Mr. Hall just sent Mr. Hall just sent out.
Yeah, you have your status quo budgets in the packet. The only increase is longevity and elected officials' salaries increases that are mandated by law. That's the only increases in the budget. The middle column that usually represents actual results just shows you last year's budget, so you can see exactly what's changed or not changed. Those are just there for your review. We will be having future meetings to discuss, the budget further. The mayor and I have met on several occasions. We are working on contingency plans. So the thing that I would say to you at this point is, we're going to have to be a little bit more nimble, a little bit more flexible than we have been in the past, and a little bit more when I say nimble, I mean we're going to have to be able to make moves as data becomes available. So that's the whole point of the contingency plans, which we're being worked on. And as soon as we get, some plans pretty solidified, we will be sharing those with you. So we're kind of in the process of that right now.
Okay, is there anything additional that we need to address this evening?
Aaron, I'd like to ask you about passing this budget this soon again. I know me and you've talked about it before, but since this came along, we're gonna have to keep meeting electronically. I'm very uncomfortable passing
Yes,
it
sir.
and not meeting in person. Is there any way we could maybe think about passing a continuation budget like you've done in the past? And maybe we can
Tommy,
get-
this is basically the comptroller's office requested. They did not demand. Okay, they requested, they strongly requested that we do a budget by June 30. So let me answer the fact question first. The fact of the matter is that the law has not changed. We still have the ability to do a continuation budget if that's the will of the budget committee and or the county commission, because we could have a budget passed out of the budget committee that we don't get passed on the, at the county commission. So, but I will say this from my standpoint, and I'm okay however you guys want to proceed. I really am. But, it really doesn't matter completely whether we wait until August or whether we do it in June. This is going to be, as I mentioned a minute ago, we're going to have to be much more nimble, much more flexible than we've been in the past. We don't know, even if we pass a budget in August, we don't know if in September or October everybody gets sent back into isolation. We shut everything down again. So, this is one time I look at our budget in particular and I go, whatever we pass in June or we pass in August doesn't mean very much, to be honest with you guys. What matters is the facts that happen after that and how we react to them. That's what matters. But again, we are free to adopt a budget at June 30, and we're free to adopt one as late as August, the end of August. And that is not my call. That is your call.
Well, I hope you understand what I'm saying, Aaron. I'm very nervous about it. This electronic stuff is making me nervous. Not being able to sit and talk to people eye to eye and work things out and talk like we generally would. So it's got
I
me
talked
worried,
to,
is all I'm trying to say.
I talked to another commissioner about it today who expressed similar concerns. I understand those concerns. Like I say, it is completely at your discretion. I don't know that you gain or lose anything necessarily, other than, like you say, the ability for everybody to get into a room and not be conducting business over the internet. I don't know that you gain anything by waiting, and I don't know that you lose anything by waiting. You do get a little bit more in terms of we get a little bit more real data, which is what we're waiting on. So there is that side of things. The other side is that, you know, this is probably the most uncertain period that any of us have ever lived through. It's certainly the most uncertain period that I've ever lived through. So, you know, I think regardless, we can't be, whatever budget we pass, whether it's in June or whether it's in August, we can't be married to this, because chances are that budget is going to change in some form or fashion. I hope it doesn't. You know, I hope we pass a budget with contingency plans and we never have to execute the first one. That's what I hope. But we would be derelict in our duty if we didn't put those contingency plans together, if we weren't ready to move, as data shows that it was absolutely, you know, time for us to move.
According to the email we received from Mayor Jennings, our governor has requested that we continue these type of meetings until June 30th. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, and you know, nobody knows what'll happen after that, but at least we're through one more round of meetings after this month's county commission. Of course, you're going to have several budget and education committee meetings there, so we're doing this for a while. One question I had, Mr. Chairman, and this is really Aaron's call, I guess. Do you want to accept the status quo budgets tonight? That doesn't mean you've approved them, but in the past, you have accepted them and then came back before you made your final approval vote.
Do we need to put that in the form of a motion to accept the status quo?
Yeah, if that's what you want to do tonight, yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept the status quo budget.
Second.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second to accept the status quo budget. It's not an approved budget. It's just we're accepting the budget to the budget committee, I assume. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That is correct.
Okay. All right.
It doesn't change anything in my mind what you've done in the past, other than you're doing it all at one time tonight rather than kind of piecemeal that you've done in the past.
Okay, is there any other comments or questions?
Could I make a question or a comment to Mayor Jennings? I believe the governor said he has allowed us to meet through June. He has not dictated us to meet through June electronically. Is that not true?
Commissioner Gentry, when he terms it as an executive order, that's the way I take it. And
no, well, in the order it says we're now, because normally you have to meet in person by law. So what he's done, he's allowed us, he's kind of suspended that we may meet electronically through June. That doesn't dictate that we have to. Now, if our situation, I mean, we're opening restaurants, we're opening lots of things, gyms, et cetera, et cetera. So I think we should delay that decision. And I talked to Mayor Hutto about that, and not decide not to meet. But because we are allowed to meet electronically doesn't mean we're mandated to meet.
Okay, if I could interrupt just for a second, let's vote on this amendment first.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous then. My question, Mike, I guess, was that according to the mayor, it seems like at this point in time, it seems like he doesn't want to meet as a full commission, but would there be a possibility, I wonder, and Aaron, you jump in here if you've got any input. Is there a possibility that small committees could meet and still have them publicized virtually for other people to view, but the committee still meet?
Yes, sir, absolutely. I believe that's a possibility. I think that's been done. I think in the email that the mayor sent out previously, he gave you guys the option on these budgets of looking over, and if you don't have any questions, you don't have to meet necessarily.
Let me address, if you don't care, y'all have covered a lot of ground. First of all, the controlling order is order number 16. Number 34 just amended the extension of time. So the controlling order is number 16. The order is necessary. It's not necessary. The order allows you to meet electronically and keep the public out. If you don't meet electronically, you're going to have to open the meetings because you're going to be in violation of sunshine law. So the electronic part is to keep down the crowds, to keep folks from coming in and violating social distancing and that type of thing. And that's what that's all about. Yes, you could still have a public meeting, but you're going to be in violation of whatever it's an order or suggestion, whatever, of social distancing.
And what
10 people in a meeting.
Yeah, what I was thinking of, Mike, was the times that we have met and we've had Ms. Bush film the meetings and broadcast them publicly. There have been a handful of occasions where we've done it that way. That's how I was thinking it would be done.
Yes.
But that may not be allowable. I don't know.
No, it is allowable. And that's what, if you're going to operate under this order, you've either got to let people in and have an open public meeting, or you've got to have it televised. We're very fortunate with our PEG channel here that we can televise, but if you don't have the PEG channel, you got to do it through Facebook or Zoom or something like that. Or if you don't have any of that, you've got to make a recording and have it available within 48 hours after the meeting. So there are a lot of moving parts for this thing. So
Okay, so Mike, if I understand you correctly, if the budget, I'm kind of like Tommy, I'd kind of like to have a meeting if possible, but if we do meet as a budget committee and have it televised to the public, that would be acceptable.
Yes, but you got to remember about social distancing and the groups of 10 or more.
Okay. All right. Well, that just gives us something to talk about and look for in a month, maybe.
And I'm not speaking against doing it the way y'all want to do it. Please don't take it. But it's not just a question of whether it's allowed or whether it's ordered. There's a lot of different moving parts.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other business we need to conduct before we end the meeting?
Can I make a comment, please?
Sure.
Sorry.
Who wants to make a comment? Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say I think we've done a good job the last 2 months with the limited resources in the electronic meetings, but I second.
Who's speaking?
Commissioner Walker.
He's breaking up. I cannot.
And Commissioner Marlowe's. Yeah, it's this microphone on this computer. I'm sorry. I second what Tommy Jones is saying and Commissioner Marlowe. I think as important as this budget is, it might be good for the budget committee to meet to kind of work through this. But I also like what the comptroller and it sounds like the education school board is ready to go forward with the budget probably in June, like the comptroller's suggestion out there. So if I understand it correctly, if we were to pass the budget in June, we still have July and August to make adjustments as the numbers become more available.
Okay, Aaron, you want to say anything to that or?
Yeah, I mean, again, I just reiterate, the budget is a living document. Y'all know all year long we amend it. By the time you get a bound copy of the budget book, that budget is already changed. Now, usually it's always been changed in a upward direction based on additional revenue received or something that we've decided that needs to be taken care of that we didn't do in the original budget. But it doesn't matter if it's December, January, February. Today, you guys could amend last year's budget in a downward direction. Your budget is not a one-directional document. It's just that we have lived gratefully for most of us in very stable times. And I don't think this is necessarily going to be the catastrophe, the apocalypse that for us that, maybe some other people will see. Only time will tell. But I just want you to think, yeah, you can look at it in July and August, but you're not done in August. Okay. Even if you don't pass the budget till August, you're not done, because if unemployment escalates and doesn't come back soon, if people don't start traveling for business again, if your sales tax is off and you got to meet maintenance of effort with the schools, there's a number of things that are going to force you to do things that we didn't even really have to think about in my previous 9 years. So, again, I just want to drive home the point that whatever you pass is not concrete. It's changeable. And, we hope we don't have to change it, but there is no magic date at which beyond this date we can't change it anymore.
Okay, before we adjourn, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone that joined this evening. Looks like for the most part it was between 25 and 27 people always on board, and that's fantastic. And I'd like to say thanks to all you ladies and gentlemen who have joined us this evening. Is there anything else that needs to be covered?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Okay, thank you, everybody. It looks like that's everything for the night. You guys have a good night. Thank you.